All right, welcome back to College Football Addiction. One of you guys' favorites back on with us, Sports Talk Jay. Jay, does it feel like the offseason's been too long, short, just long enough? You guys have had enough drama going on in the offseason. What are your thoughts on this?
I honestly don't feel like we had an offseason. That whole Nico thing, and then you think you're finally done with it and you're going to move on, and then we have the Boo Carter thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going, are we the one team that has constant controversy all the time?
It's not just this year. It's year after year after year. There's always something. Last year, you're suing the NCAA. Year before that, the violation. Like, it just is every year with you guys.
We are at the center of attention, good and bad, all the time.
How much of a what's the mood? How much of a sour taste is still the way that Tennessee's year ended? Like, are they still pretty upset, or have they taken some time to realize, like, hey, you played the best team in the country, you had a really good year with some really good moments, or is it just still like misery from the way it ended?
Not really, because of the way Ohio State played after that. When they were up 31-0 on Oregon in the second quarter, I realized, oh my God, because Oregon was number one. You know, they've been number one all year, and they just went through them like nothing. And I was like, okay, maybe we're not as bad as I thought we were in that game. And then they went through the whole playoff and won 4 straight games, and that was that. So that took a lot of the pain away, seeing that. But, yeah, it was a crappy way to end, especially given how humbly we went into that game. Never mentioned anything about Nayland North or
It made it so much worse. I know Tennessee fans don't want to hear, relive it, but like, I don't know, you got to be able to laugh some stuff off at some point. Yeah, the way the guys were in there with no shirts and the takeover. And I'll tell you, the social media takeover was impressive. I will say that. Like, the way that Vols Twitter and Vols, YouTube and everything, like the way that you guys could take that over was impressive. And then, unfortunately count me in the boat too. I said it'd be the most competitive game of the weekend. And, but then the game happened. And
we had 25,000 tickets. We got the quarter of their the shoe, which is amazing.
Yeah,
and that was a whole thing. But I don't regret any of it. I thought it was a blast anyway.
Oh man,
up until the game.
Forget about the game. We talked about this before. It's entertainment. This is entertainment, and it didn't go the way you wanted. But yeah. I mean, would you have rather the week not gone the way it did? The week was still fun. So
I would. It's much better to be there, even if you lose, than to not be there. So, I mean, I don't regret any of it. Plus, that's what Tennessee fans do. We're not normal, regular football. We're not. I mean, that Vol Twitter is a whole thing.
We were sending each other messages back and forth of the funny things we had seen. I forgot about that until just now. So, all right. So looking forward to this year, 2025. I think a lot of people had an appreciation for Nico, and it'll take him some time to get over the way that he parted and everything else. But, they did really believe in him and trust in him. But I do think, as an outsider, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm happy to hear your take on this too, he wasn't spectacular by any means last year. I think he had his moments, he had his highs and lows, but I don't think he was spectacular, and I don't think he made the jump that I think Vols fans were hoping that he would make from year one to year two. And maybe they expected an even bigger jump going into this year, which we'll see what he does at UCLA. But is it a stretch to think that Aguilar could potentially replicate some of what Nico did in some aspects? Maybe not as high of a ceiling, but similar floors, similar mid-level play?
Yeah, he definitely could. I mean, really, that was the lowest number of touchdowns that Josh Heupel quarterbacks had in the last decade. He had 19 touchdowns, and everybody else had been anywhere from 20 to 35. It's Hendon Hooker averaged 30. So, yeah, that was actually and it was because he was overthrowing the big passes under pressure in the big situations. And I totally understand that. I really do. That's just pressure, and you get pumped up and you just let it fly. And he had multiple times. I remember the Alabama game. He missed in the first half 3 wide open touchdowns. That, I mean, literally, Kangaroo Black on his channel, he was like, oh my gosh, we could be down a ton right now if they were hit those. But our defense kept us in that game. We ended up winning it. But, geez, it drove me crazy seeing all that talent that kid has, and he just wasn't able to harness it. And it's just up here. Yeah, what it was. So who knows what he'll do as a sophomore.
Vols fans, make sure you are stocked up for football season with Alumni Hall. Whether you're going in-store or you're shopping online, use code CFA15. Let us save you 15%. We appreciate Alumni Hall for doing that for you guys. Again, online or in-store, all the very best selection, all the best brands, all the best items you're looking for. The best and largest selection of game day gear is at Alumni Hall. Make sure, Vols fans, you are shopping there. Make sure you're saving 15% with code CFA15. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you finally did hit one of them in the second half, a deep pass, and that's ended up what ended up giving Tennessee the win. But I remember watching that first half thinking, dude, is he ever going to hit one of these guys? Because you guys were killing their secondary. And then finally got one. But yeah, you can't go 25% on your deep passes. You got to be a little better than that.
I don't think Joey will be overwhelmed by the pressure because he's played a ton of football. Yeah. It hasn't been in that high a level, obviously, because he hadn't played Power 4. But here's the thing, football's football, and if you've played a lot of quality, important minutes, which he has, that helps you a lot as opposed to not playing it.
Talk to me about Tennessee's wide receivers, not just on the season, but specifically this game one matchup. You've got a very defensive-minded Fran Brown who's experienced in the SEC and knows that. Syracuse had a nice year last year. A lot of people think they'll regress. But Tennessee's wide receivers, some concern there?
Well, we've got plenty of talent. Talent is not an issue. They're all 4 stars and 5 stars, so no issue there. The big thing is experience. We only have really one guy, Brazel, that's got a lot of experience, got a lot of super high-end, top 100 dudes, but they've got to perform now. They're getting paid like they're performing, so they better start doing it. And we have great tight ends. Boo Carter is a guy, I don't even know if we're going to get to see him play a whole lot in this game. I don't know what his situation is. I know he's going to play later in the season for sure, I would think, as long as he's doing his things. But he may be partially suspended for this game. We don't know that because of all the off-field stuff that we were dealing with him. So he may only be returning punts. He may be first half. He's not there. I just don't know with Boo Carter. So he's a guy that can play offense, and he's electric. So I think we'll be okay at wide receiver. It's just a matter of they just got to get their feet wet.
Yeah. Do you talk to me about, we'll talk about this too, running back room, replacing who I think was the best running back in the SEC last year, one of the best in the country. Do you think that they'll try their very best to lean on that position group like they did last year to help Aguilar? And then how successful will they be replacing Sampson?
Well, they've had a ton of success running the ball all 4 years that Heupel's been there. And it's solely because he spreads that offense and defense out so much that you have gaping holes for the guy to run in, because you just, especially with the umbrella defense that defenses are playing now against Tennessee, they're all backing off because they don't want to get burned deep. So I think we'll be able to run just fine on everybody other than maybe Georgia will probably pin us in pretty good, and Alabama, those type of teams. But Syracuse just doesn't have the hosses up front to have a light box and hem us in. That's the key, because you got to go with a light box against Tennessee. And unless you've got 5 stars in there, we're going to push you around with our offensive line because our guys are super high end. We got 2 5-star tackles. Then we got a ton of 4 stars in the middle. And a couple of them are starters. One was at Arizona, one's at Notre Dame, and they're really good. So I think we'll be able to run the ball fine. Good, and we have good running backs.
Anything about I almost said Notre Dame. Notre Dame transfer, Syracuse quarterback. He came in that playoff game, in that semifinal, and did a good job of leading Notre Dame down when it looked like they were kind of down and out. Riley Leonard goes out. They come down, score kind of at the end of the first half there to stay in the game, and then eventually win it with Leonard coming back. Anything that he does or the offense does that kind of gives you any pause against Tennessee's defense?
Not as much, because he's not mobile. If he was, I think he's a quality quarterback, but he was 3rd string at Notre Dame for a reason. He's not going to take off on you. He's not going to make you miss. If you get a clean shot at him, he's just not that quick. I've watched enough of his play. He's just he's a good quality manager type quarterback, and I think they'll be fine. But if we get loose around the edges and get on him, he's going to get sacked.
It's tough for me to envision a path for Syracuse to win this. Now, football's weird, right? And weird things happen, and turnovers certainly would be a big factor if they were to go either way. But I just don't think Syracuse matches up very well in the trenches with Tennessee. For questions that you may have at running back or questions you may have at wide receiver or replacing this guy or that guy, new quarterback, it's so cliche. And so I hate to use it, but games are so much won in the trenches. And it's hard for me to envision that Syracuse could really disrupt on really either side of the line of scrimmage.
They're going to have a real tough time matching up one-on-one, especially against our defensive line. And we're going to come at them with a lot of guys. We constantly rotate our guys, and there's not a much difference between the starter and the backup guy. They're very similar in talent. They're all blue chip guys with a lot of experience, and our linebackers are vicious. I tell you that they're in for it with Arian Carter and the other linebackers that we have. They're going to need turnovers is what they're going to need. Syracuse need turnovers.
How would you compare this year's defense to last year's?
I think it's very similar. Very similar. Now, we're missing Jermod McCoy, who was our key cornerback. Yeah. But Ricky Gibson's a really good cornerback. We brought in Colton Hood from Colorado, who was a good, solid cornerback, and he's had a great fall practice. And so I feel good about our secondary. I think we'll be pretty strong there. Boo, if he plays, Boo's a great safety. I just don't know how much he's going to play in that game. But we also, the guys behind that are really good too. So I think we're okay in our secondary. We're not as good as last year, but we might end up being even better than last year if Jermod McCoy comes back in the third or fourth game and can play.
Are people that are expecting Tennessee to take a step back, are they overhyping that, or do you think Tennessee could have another really good year similar to last year?
I think it'll be up to two things. Number one, can Joey play at least a similar level to what Nico did, which I think is very attainable. If he does that or a little better, I think we have a shot at it. Our schedule's not as easy as it was last year, and the reason being we've got to play Alabama and Florida on the road.
Yeah.
We played them at home, and we beat them, both of them. That's going to be tough. And then our toughest game, which is Georgia, we get them at home, but that's the hardest game that we've got all year. So our schedule's a little bit squirrely when it comes to that. So it feels very 9-3 to me, but 10-2 will get you in the playoff.
Yeah, 9-3 would probably cause a debate. Now, I would say if you lose those big three games, where's the signature win, which would be what would be tough for Tennessee at that point. But, 9-3 in the SEC, we've seen the whole strength of schedule thing where you're not penalized as much maybe for good losses, which is something that I think I hate the concept of. But I do think that 9-3 would at least have in that conversation, and 10-2 they'd absolutely be in, because it would include one of those really big wins. I'll tell you, the Florida fans, we have a mutual interest on this. The Florida fans are scared to death of having to play Tennessee in November because they remember what happened back in 2001, having to play you guys so late in the year. I think they feel good that the game's at home, but I don't think they like the fact that it's late in the year. So hopefully you guys have figured it out by then.
Florida, of course, is my biggest nemesis, and that's the team that I don't know what it is about them. They just bother me the most, and it's really not even close. And it's just because they've had our number for so many years, and I don't even feel a whole lot better beating them 2 out of the last 3 years, even though that's great and good. I don't know that I'll ever get enough wins on them to feel like it's just okay.
Yeah,
especially down there at the Swamp. I was there the last time we beat them. And that was in, was it 2001, I believe?
Yeah.
Or 2003. I can't remember. It's just been so long ago. We need to get that monkey off our back.
Yeah, it feels like it's been forever, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, as we get a little later. All right, I want to get your final thoughts on this one, but quick around the country, who you like in Texas, Ohio State?
I would say if it was at a neutral side, I would go with Texas. The shoe is a 7-point advantage. I've got it as a pick 'em just because of that. I think here's the problem. Ohio State has the two best players in the game. They've got Caleb Downs back there, and then they got that Jeremiah Smith guy that nobody can stop. So they've got two huge guys right there that can make a big difference. Arch Manning, I think, is an advantage over Julian Sayin because he's already got experience. Sayin has not. So I'm leaning a little towards Texas, but when you're playing at the shoe, it's not easy.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I like Arch more than Sayin. I like the rest of Ohio State's team over Texas. Texas's roster is still insanely good. Clemson, LSU?
Boy, that's a tough one. LSU needs that so bad. I
Oh,
can't
so
even begin
desperate.
to tell you how badly they need that game. It's at Clemson. Klubnik. Probably Clemson wins that game.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean LSU's desperate for that win, and I think Clemson could rebound from it. Right, they get an ACC schedule, they could lose that and probably be fine. They got mollywopped by Georgia last year and still made the playoff. But I think Clemson wins. Any hope for my boys in Tallahassee?
It would be the story of the year if they win. I can tell you that. It would be. We talked about that before we got started. It would be the biggest story of the beginning of the season by far. It wouldn't even be close, especially because of Castellanos. So, no, I don't think you've got a very good chance. It is at home, so that helps. It's just Alabama's got so much talent, and I don't know what to think of FSU. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, 13-0 and then 2-10. What do you do with that? I don't know what's going on.
We'll find out real quick, but I'm kind of the same way. It's not even an anti-FSU thing. It's just I would pick Bama against any team in the country, save about 4. You know, like maybe I wouldn't pick them against Ohio State. Maybe I wouldn't pick them against Texas. Maybe I wouldn't pick them against Georgia. That might be maybe Penn State. I don't know, but like maybe, right? Like there might be like 3 or 4 teams I would pick over Bama week 1. So it's not really anti-Florida State. It's just I think they're really good. So
but they are. Y'all have got plenty of talent. Alabama's going to come in there with their hair on fire over that because the coach's dream is when a player says something like that. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't even have to inspire the players. So, but it could be that again, if you pull it off, it's the monster story, and you get to sit there and enjoy every bit of it.
Yeah, and it's celebrate it. Yeah, I need Squirrel to have another game like he did against them 2 years ago.
Squirrel, you're gonna love Squirrel. Squirrel is one of my favorite players.
Yeah, one of the best names in all of college football
He's
too.
Fast too, dude. He's fast.
I feel pretty confident in Tennessee here. Now, again, turnovers could be the great equalizer here, but I know it's early in the week, so if you do a prediction later or something, but like, are you feeling pretty confident in this one? I struggle to see too many paths outside of Tennessee just shooting themselves in the foot that they don't win this game.
Yeah, I've got them winning by about 10. That's where I see. I think they'll cover the spread. Syracuse will. I don't think we're going to be real efficient on offense, but I don't think they're going to be able to score a lot of points on us. So outside of some, 4 turnovers to 1, I think we win fairly easily. But, it's football, so anything could happen. But 2 touchdowns is a big spread.
Yeah, I think Josh will be, he's not really known as a conservative guy by any means, but I think he'll be fairly conservative in not letting Joey go make mistakes. And if you win a game by 9 or 10, it's still a win, right? Doesn't matter when you get to November. It doesn't matter when you get to the playoff talk. You just got to get the wins. You can't take a loss here. And so don't put the ball in harm's way. Don't draw up anything real exotic. Save your bullets for the Bama game, the Georgia game, the Florida game, and go out and beat the teams you're supposed to beat otherwise. So I'm with you. I actually wouldn't be surprised at all if they cover the spread because I'm not confident in Syracuse moving the ball too well this weekend. But, Jay, where can people follow you? Where can they find your work, bud?
Yep, just on YouTube, Sports Talk Jay. That's it.
Awesome. Appreciate you, man. We'll get you back at some point through this year, and good luck.
Good.